I don't even know what episode this is. I think this is episode 3 of the Nucci Show, guys. We got a very, very big guest, a very accomplished real estate agent who's top 1% in the country, 135 or 125 in the state of Florida.
125.
125 out of 250,000 real estate agents, who just got a $55 million listing, closed I think over $65 million last year, has $100 million in current active listings. Jonathan Bigelman.
Yes, what's up, guys?
So I appreciate you coming. Tell me, I want to know, like, are you born and raised here?
Yes, born and raised in Miami. So I grew up in this hood called Pinecrest, Coral Gables. So obviously, you know, not so much of a hood, but definitely an amazing upbringing. You know, shout out to my parents for that. They, you know, no student loan debt. They, or you know, my mom, my stepfather Enrique, and my dad Marvin. All just great parents, good upbringing. You know, great school. Went to Gulliver Prep, which is a nice prominent high school in Pinecrest.
Okay, nice.
And you know, we're the Real Raiders. Shout out to Gulliver.
Did you play sports in high school? Like,
yeah.
Did you have a thing for sales? What was like the journey of getting into real estate?
So my journey, I'll try to keep it as short as possible, was
no, bro, it's your show tonight. You take as long as you want.
Yeah, so I did play basketball, played varsity basketball. That was like, it still is my love, you know, in terms of the game. I just think it's such a beautiful sport. I think there's so many lessons to be learned from team sports in life and in business. You could only go so far by yourself. You need a team to really get to that next level, which is why in our industry we see the top brokers and agents with teams, right? It's not because...
Or co-broking every deal, right? Like, it's hard to... I know you just did one in Bay Harbor alone, but that's not very common. And I think a lot of real estate agents that are following me are a lot of newer real estate agents. So if you can explain, like, how...
Yeah, so I think that... you know, when you get started in real estate, you know, you're so green and fresh that first year that you should either work on another team or work under somebody that knows what they're doing, that has business, right? Someone that could show you, you know, the ins and outs of a listing appointment. I mean, no one ever talks about showings. It's like, showing, you just open the door. No. Showings is a science. If you're not 30 minutes early to a showing, making sure everything's perfect, like, do you even know the route you're going to show the buyer and their agent when they open the door? Like,
so you do that?
These things matter.
Okay, so I'm learning from you because I show up early to everything. I'm very punctual, but I don't know if I go.
No, I like literally even after the listing appointment, I look at the house. I'm like, so if I have a buyer, like, where are the features of this house that's just going to wow them? You know, as soon as they walk in the door.
Okay.
Like in my listing in Bay Harbor, the house is gorgeous, but hey, like, when those like Fleetwood doors that step are opened up all the way and that just gorgeous pool is there, like
that's the one for 15.
That's the one for 15.9 in Bay Harbor. It's gorgeous on a double.
Is that a developer that you got, or is that like, how did you get that? I think people, again, for me, because I have the coaching business, I attract a lot of real estate agents that follow me from cold calling, and I think a lot of people that cold call are probably new to real estate. I know you still do it because you're super ambitious.
I used to do it a lot more, you know. And
really?
And part of the reason I'm here, shout out to Nucci here, is, you know, he teaches and preaches cold calling, but he actually does it, and he's still, I mean, you're definitely better at it than I am at this point, but like, you're still learning, but you're broadcasting it and showing it and teaching it to your people. And I think I just respect people who are just in the trenches doing it, because it's not easy.
Thank you.
And it takes a little bit of it takes a little bit of stomach to be said no to be hung up on. And honestly, I've been there. I know what it feels like, and a lot of people might be watching it on Instagram and it'd be like, oh yeah, you know.
No, I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, no, but like, but what people think is like, oh, okay, like, he's crushing it, great, you know. But it's like, I want to see you get off your butt, off that couch, and do what Nucci's doing on these cold calls, because listen, it's not easy.
Dude, if you knew how
to face rejection like that.
It's not, and I think what's funny too is because we're real estate agents, we have that personality. Like, we met at, I think you followed me, I followed you.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wasn't sure. I was like, who is this guy? Everyone's got, I'm the best real estate or Miami broker or real estate agent. And I'm
top producer.
And I'm like, all right, like, let's see. And then I looked at like some of your sales and stuff, and I saw like a 17 million. I'm like, all right, and then I saw you at the gym. And we literally have, it's been like hi bye a couple like, what are you drinking, a Celsius or a Fit 8 or whatever the hell.
Yeah, it's like, hey, time crunch, man. I can only be at the gym for so long.
Yeah, literally. So our relationship, our friendship has been very like, hi and bye, and then we fuck around on social media, but you always would comment on the cold calling, and you're like, you know what, I'm doing it right now. If I don't get yelled at, I'm doing something wrong. And I was like, all right, that just goes to show, like, I'm weird like that too. Like, I need to be told.
Yeah, like what? So as a new agent, if you're part of a team and you're going, you should be going to every show. Like literally stick to your mentor like a shadow, right?
Yeah.
But there's going to be times where you have nothing to do. What are you doing if you're not at least calling people you know, family, friends, lawyers, people who could be referral sources, taking them out for coffee, a $5 coffee at Starbucks, doing lunch. If you're not doing all of that, at least start cold calling. Like, what are you doing? I mean, you only have a finite amount of hours in the day.
Yeah.
You know, get out there, right? Because people think when you get your license, it's all easy peasy, and you're just going to be closing $10 million deals, getting $2 million listings right off the bat. Guess what? You get your license and literally nothing changes with your life. Like the morning after you get your license, not one thing happens, right?
Dude, how long did it take
go
you
out
to
and get it?
I didn't have any mentorship or any guidance at all. It took me 6 months, and I was in Michigan. I started in Michigan.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about my story. Like, I'm born and raised in Michigan. My grandpa's a builder and developer, but not like huge. Like in Michigan, it's all suburbs, and it's $400,000 houses.
Right.
I got my license in the middle of him building like a 80 unit, like there were like 3 units a town. It was like townhouse style. And they were like $300,000-400,000, and then like at the end of it, I was like, Grandpa, let me sell one of these. I was doing all like the blue collar work, like painting, installing drywall.
Oh wow, so you're actually in the construction part.
Dude, my grandpa taught me how to drive. Like, I can drive a bulldozer, a backhoe, an excavator. I can like dig. I can like dig a basement. Not like very good, but like I can kind of do that.
Yeah.
When I was like 12 or 14.
Oh wow.
And then I saw the lady wearing a Rolex, driving an Escalator, wearing a suit. She was the real estate agent.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second, that's probably where I want to be.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to get dirty. I like to talk. Like, I want to be like, center of attention and talk and whatever. And that's kind of what I like gravitated towards. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, now what?
So it's great that I'm learning this about Anthony because my dad is a GC. So,
oh, is he?
And part of my success as a real estate agent isn't just my grit and grind because I do work my butt off. My wife thinks it's nuts how much I work, but I do have real estate connections in Miami, right? So my dad's a GC, only does luxury home builds from the ground up, nothing that's small. And he's been doing it for over 30 years.
Does he have like a specific like area where he?
The same areas I work, from Golden Beach down to
Bay
Bal Harbor, Bay Harbor, Miami Shores, Aventura, those parts, Keystone, San Souci. But what I respect about my dad is like, if he got a call from someone in Coral Gables to do like a nice build, my dad would be like, nah, I'm not driving that far. And I respect that because we as real estate agents, we start, especially in the beginning, and I'm actually graduating to that phase where I'm like, okay, now I'm starting a team, and I have a showing agent that's going to help me with stuff. Team? I did start a team, but there's a part of growth in business that's not only related to real estate, related to all other industries where your time is so valuable that if you do get an opportunity somewhere else, unless it's a massive opportunity, you still should never say no to business, right? So if you have someone on your team that could do the work and both you and your team member can mutually benefit financially and for your business, why would you not do that? So that's why, yes, I am starting a team.
I love that.
It's called the B Luxury Group at One Sotheby's.
I love that.
BE for Bigelman, and then my partner Lydia Eskenazi, her last name starts with an E, who by the way also works at Equinox. You might be seeing her around.
Wait, so hold on. What is the connection to her? Is your family aside from your dad being a builder, is your mom or stepdad, anybody else a builder or a real estate agent or anything?
So my stepfather happens to be a shell contractor who only does skyrises.
Okay.
And he does shell construction. So basically, he did Masoni, right? So a developer would hire.
Okay.
We'll hire him. He owns a company called G&E Florida Contractors. Also very successful, great at what he does. And he knows all the big developers in the city.
Okay,
and,
all right, fair enough.
But he's more in the commercial space. My dad does residential. But yeah, my aunt Lydia is a beast in real estate. Like she's the one who mentored me the first year I got my license. She wouldn't let me touch one of her listings with a 10-foot pole until I could prove myself, right? Because she's got some of the big listings, so she would be like, "Hey, listen, listen, Jonathan, I love you, you're my nephew, but like, come on, you just got your license, show me what you're made of. Like, you might be just doing it part time, like what half of Miami does, right?" So, I had to like do my own deals and kind of show what I'm worth before she, 2 years later, she finally started working with me, letting me in on more listings. She started introducing me to some buyers, and before I know it, here I am. We're doing things together. I'm picking up listings on my own. She's picking up listings. We're picking up listings together. We're doing sales. It's all been great, but it took some time. To get there.
So I guess for everybody, because everyone's a real estate agent, everyone thinks they can get a $10 million listing, a $5 million listing. Like if you had to start all over again, knowing what you know now, if you had to get dropped in the middle of a state you've never been to, you don't know one there, where would you start?
I would, number one, decide, well, I'm assuming just residential versus commercial, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. I'm not a fan, and listen, some people do this, some people don't. I'm not a fan of doing both residential and commercial. I believe in finding a niche. And so first decide whether it's resi or commercial. Once you do that, pick one area. I know everyone's like wants to sell everything. Pick one area. So if it's a big city, right? Like for Miami, I grew up here. I know every neighborhood. Coral Gables, Pinecrest, Kendall, even.
Really?
My mom's mom lives there. Like I know Kendall, right? Have you seen me do a deal there? No. But could I do a deal there? Probably. So
I'm kind of the same way because of everything going on. Like if I have something that is too far, like I had a $1 million deal in Boynton, and I went. I don't have the time to give the clients the attention and service they need sometimes,
right?
Because of how busy I am. So I gave it to my guy Jake Goldstein, who's like my guy, who's on my team.
That's Ian Gellerman's.
Yeah. How do you know Ian?
I know Ian used to be at Sotheby's. He's a.
Yeah.
I know.
So he's joined over the dark side.
Yeah.
So
everyone's jumping around. That's what happens sometimes.
Ian and Jake, which they just closed a deal at Continuum for 2.2, and they're gonna get a new construction commission on it, which is great. But Jake joined my masterclass, told me I'm not just a fly on the wall, I'm not another number on a spreadsheet. Give me an opportunity. I posted in like my Discord, like, hey, I need help showing a house in Boynton Beach or whatever. And he lives in Boca. He showed it. And the clients ended up liking him more than they like me. I jokingly say that, but like I think they do. And I was like, look, bro, like I'll split the deal with you, or I'll give you a portion of it, or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to drive because I'm very like, I'm not at your level yet, so my time is very, very valuable. So if I look at it like, you know what, Jake's qualified enough. He's good enough. He knows that area actually better than me because I'm like Hollywood to Miami.
Yeah, let him run with it.
Let him run with it. And I'll take that 2 hours to go cold call and farm an area where I want to get a $10 million listing.
100%.
And that was it. Okay, so going back to what you were saying about picking your area, pick what you're going to do, residential or commercial, sticking to a niche.
Yeah, so find...
What is your schedule like? That's the biggest question.
Yeah.
What is the schedule?
First, find the neighborhood you want to farm and just focus on that specific neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods, right? Because you can only farm so much in let's just say Miami Shores, for instance. All right, once you hit all those houses in Miami Shores, I mean, if you're doing cold calling every day, go to El Portal, just south of it, right? As an example. But
you're hanging around the restaurants and the cafe and the coffee shops that are around.
And a lot of the times, just farm where you're living at currently, right? There's no easier way to just, like you in this building, I'm going to farm everyone here. I mean, if just as an example, right? So I think keep it simple and just work your butt off on being like the local expert in farming that area. That's my recommendation. That's, what I would do. But also, before you do that, just work under a very successful real estate agent or team in that neighborhood for your first year, maybe 2 years, right? Because you're gonna have to learn the business. Like you could be the best realtor in the nation, but if you don't have a book of clients or you don't have a network, you're not gonna close anything. I don't care if you're like Mr. James Bond of real estate and can just sell things in one day. Like you're not going to be able to showcase that until you get your first listing and people know who you are. So that's my recommendation. Once you have a book of clients, you're starting to get business without your team or without your team lead feeding you business, go out on your own. As soon as possible, go out on your own.
Is there like a certain number, like a level of income that you're like, all right, once I make 300 grand or 250 grand, like where can I branch off? Or is it like a confidence thing where you're like,
I think it's, because I think that question kind of varies too, because everyone has different income goals. Some people are okay making 100 grand a year and they stay in the same team and they don't have as much pressure. Me, I'm not like that. I always want to make more and do better for my family and have those big dreams. But some people, it's okay making 100, 200,000 a year and being comfortable and living that life too. I have nothing against agents that are okay with that, but it's not easy to get there from the beginning because you're not going to be closing 100.
That's the thing too. I think people don't realize like how much effort it takes to close a $10 million deal as opposed to a $500,000 deal. Like, yes, it's a different client. Yes, they expect different service. Yes, you need to know Bay Harbor and Golden Beach and Bell Harbor.
Of course.
And you need to be sophisticated. However, it's not the same amount of phone calls and feedback that you're giving that client is the same as like, I had a deal fall in my lap. 2 of them actually in Michigan. They're like $300K, $400K deals.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not going to say no to business.
Of course not.
I also don't want to throw it away and take 50-50. I'm like, you know what, dude? Like, a listing is not that hard to take on. Getting the client is harder.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
However, dude, I still every time I get a listing, one thing that I do, I don't know if you do this, I'm sure you do to a degree. If you don't, you probably already know it. If I got a listing in this building, I would circle on the MLS like everything that's comparable to this unit, and have updates sent to an email specifically for me, like similar to setting up a buyer email search.
Yeah, like an auto email that says, "Hey, Anthony, this unit's going under contract."
Everything that comes on, off, expired, canceled, withdrawn, anything I know about it. And because, dude, especially at your level, if your client calls you and is like, "Jonathan, did you know that
so and so just sold? What was that?"
You would be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like I should be telling you that.
Yeah.
What about social media? Like, you kind of have a pretty good follow. I don't know how many 17 or 20K followers you have.
YouTube, guys. YouTube is awesome for real estate. I mean, real estate is very visual. Right. So if you have an amazing video of your listing, it's not even just about selling your listing. It's about finding that next buyer, right? And if a buyer asks questions on YouTube about your listing, it's most likely a pretty solid buyer lead, right? So I think that you should do it all. And when I first created Miami.broker on Instagram, that was the same week I got my real estate license, because that was like a time where COVID was happening. Everything was dead. And I was starting to get anxious because I'm just like, nothing was happening.
What were you doing before real estate?
Yeah, so it's funny. We started with my journey, then we kind of
I know. I'm the same way, dude. We're both ADHD a little bit. I'm terrible.
I could talk about anything, honestly. But yeah, in terms of my journey, so before real estate, real fast, I went to Florida State, did finance there, minor in hospitality, was part of a fraternity, which, by the way, you guys can say what you want about Greek life in colleges. It's the best prep for business and life. Being part of a brotherhood and doing events, learning how to socialize, talk to everyone, right? And being sort of learning those skills, so huge for business and life. But yeah, Florida State University, go Noles.
Shouting out every sports team.
I can. Yeah, I can. I'm a sports guy. It's one of my interests. So after that, I worked for Baby Financial. It's a real estate hedge fund in Coral Gables.
Okay.
So I kind of from the beginning started getting into real estate, but that was like a corporate job. So I did.
So not to cut you off, I have a question. Where do you invest your commissions? Do you go back into real estate? Do you keep it in cash? Do you put a portion to it into the market and stuff like that? Because you said hedge fund.
Yeah.
So are you a stock market blue chip guy? Are you an S&P 500 guy? Are you an index guy?
My answer with that is very lame, but I'm going to say it anyways. When I invest, it's obviously for myself personally, but I'm just a huge advocate for diversification, right? So Bitcoin, stocks, bonds, private equity, even some real estate deals. I'm part of some syndicates on. I do it all, and I like to kind of just throw things at different, different pies that, will obviously make money over the long run or sometimes short run, depending on the investment deal and size. I have phenomenal financial advisors that keep me posted every week on everything, multiple. So I think that it's very important to get wealthy in not just real estate, but anything you're doing. You should have professionals like real estate agents, just people that are only experts at, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, which gets me over to this new settlement thing, which I'm surprised you haven't asked about yet, but that's probably a conversation for later.
No, it's definitely coming up too, because dude, I can't listen anymore. And I feel like you deal with it a little bit, but like we're mostly listing agents, I feel like you are. What would you say the majority, percentage-wise, of your business is listing?
Well, listen, I wasn't always a listing agent. I first started just doing I started off doing rentals, which we haven't talked about yet. Like, when you're a new agent, just don't say no to anything. Like, do rentals, if you need to drive, like what we're talking about, if you need to drive to Delray Beach to do a buyer deal for $500,000-$600,000 and you have the time to do it and you just got your license, go do it. Like it's worth the drive to make the commission. I promise you, it is. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, I don't want to drive to Boca Raton to make like 20 grand commission. What? I would drive to Boca Raton right now and come back to make $20,000. I mean, what are you talking about? Like, what do you what do you have going on that's so important? I don't understand.
It's so funny. Like I did that webinar just now, and I'm like, if you're a salesperson and you are private on Instagram, why? Who the fuck do you think you are that you don't need to be out and about and telling people what you do? It's like, I don't understand. Like, you're a salesperson.
Everyone needs to know who you are.
Exactly.
Everybody. And there's no better, way to do that and showcase it than posting, talking about Instagram. Post as much as possible about yourself, your interests, maybe just like behind the scenes on a listing you won. Hey, by the way, I beat out, don't name agents because that's obnoxious, but hey, I beat out like 4 agents. This is something to be proud about. Let me tell you how I did it and what, why, why I won this. And I think just these stories only help you out, man. And that's why you see on Instagram. I try to post every day. And there's days where I don't get to it, but it bothers me when I don't because I think it's so powerful.
It's like the gym. It bothers me.
Yeah.
If I don't post.
Exactly.
If I don't go to the gym, I feel the same way.
Same thing with business, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm the same way with the gym too, but in terms of what that does, listen, so everyone's a fan, at least in the agent world, of weekly emails and email marketing, right? Weekly emails, I still do it, don't get me wrong.
I want to know because I'm honestly, not only are they going to learn, I want to learn what you...
So everything about email marketing in any business is just reminding your clientele that you exist and you're reminding them about the services you provide. And in a nutshell, that's what email marketing is.
Okay.
But why not do it on social media and collect all of these different people from different backgrounds, different income levels, so that they could all see your posts every single day? Because I guarantee you, people are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, way more than they are checking their emails. And if you bug them, because mostly when people are checking their emails, they're working, they kind of don't want to see that you sold a house for $2 million. Like, they're like, oh, Anthony, again, I'm trying to read this email, get out of here. But on Instagram, you're kind of messing around, you're waiting for, lunch somewhere. You're like, oh, that's cool.
Isn't that crazy how I just want to, it's funny you say that. I'm like, I just sent out an email, scheduled it for Friday to go out about my Eastern Shores deal that I just closed. And
you should still do it. Yeah. I'm just saying, the mindset behind it is
That's what's crazy to me too. I'm not single now, but that's a thing. Talking and communicating with girls or people on social media, it's they're different with you on Instagram than they are on text.
Right.
So it's that goes back to the point that I'm the same way, dude. If I see an email of Frederick Ecklin and the Gomes team, I'm like, all right, dude, I know you guys just sold a $30 million house or a $50 million apartment in New York. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Why is that on my email? But if it's on Instagram, I'm like, okay, cool. I follow you. I expect this.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't follow you on email. Why am I on here?
It's how'd you even get my email, Frederick? That's cool.
That's what I'm saying. How am I on your feet? How am I in your little funnel? It's just
it's gotten to the point. By the way, I'm preaching this because I'm so social media crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. By the way, you're not in this shot. I think you should be though. I think the camera should be moving a little.
I'm in that shot.
Okay.
But that is your camera.
Oh, that's my camera. Okay.
That is the BE Luxury Group. What is it? Where can they find you?
It's B Luxury.
B
Luxury, but it's formally B Luxury Group at One Sotheby's. We're so new that I haven't even. This is probably the first announcement I'm making on it. Some publications have already put out our name, which kind of makes whatever, because I wanted to announce it myself. But it'll be coming out in a few days.
This will probably, honestly, dude, it's going to take me a couple weeks to get this out. A few weeks actually. So here's my. The truth be told.
No rush, man. No rush. It's all good.
No, but I'm going to chop this up. I'm going to give it to you raw, so you have all the content on your own, and you can play with it however you want, post whatever you want. And then the thing is, have you ever thought about starting a podcast? I know we talked about it jokingly.
honestly,
it's hard to keep everything going.
Yeah, like I've thought about it. I got a lot going on right now, but maybe once I get things more, starting that. No one talks about how starting teams in any business, especially real estate, is so time consuming.
Oh, dude, I didn't realize it either. My last month, I've had no life.
It's insane. So, I'm a perfectionist. Everything needs to be perfect. Like I'm talking about announcement to who's on these slots on my team, to what we're doing next year, to team photos, to now marketing.
Oh, dude.
Right? Like I saw your Instagram page for your team. I'm going to be doing the same thing. Who's going to be doing that marketing?
Oh, I have a girl doing it. So the thing is, I love that you're like that because I built it a certain way, and I have like this like standard operating procedure. And I have to. This isn't my podcast. This is like yours today. I want to like talk about you.
No, let's talk. No, this is both of us.
But like, I look at it like I told this girl, my girl Vivian, who's like a transaction coordinator / assistant. Like, here's what we're gonna post: every deal pending, every deal closed, every deal we listed. So it's about just being out there, right?
Yeah.
Even if I want to make it look like we sold one listing 3 times, and I want it to look a certain way and feel a certain way, and like. Yeah. Invite me as a collaborator, invite the individual as a collaborator, put it on my page, and she has it all scheduled out. So we have like 8 people that I joined on my team, and I don't sell what you sell, but I know what to do, and I've had this passion for the coaching, and it's been so explosive lately that I have all these leads that I've been working in that $1 to $3 million range, which was like my sweet spot. I don't want to throw them away, but I also want to start going after 10 million, but I don't want to throw those leads away. So what makes sense? I'm like, I'm a coach. Why don't I have these 8 real estate agents come under me? Mm-hmm. Why don't I give them these leads, show them what to say, tell them what to say. I'll take 50-50 on it. So I'm like, all right, I have all these guys like Ian, Jake, that are sophisticated, that are sharp, that are hungry.
Those are good choices, by the way. I love Ian. Ian's like my young Jewish brother, bro.
I'm Jewish by association. I listen. So
I mean, my last name gives it away. I don't have to tell anyone I'm Jewish, but Ian, I met Ian at a Sotheby's event when I first joined. Well, Sotheby's actually bought out my family's brokerage, which is a whole other story.
Wait, what do you mean that's a whole lot? What the fuck? You had a family brokerage?
Yeah, Harding Realty in Surfside was owned by my grandmother and Lydia, who's my partner now.
So real estate is in your
my blood.
Yeah, it's in your blood.
It's in my blood. Like,
okay.
Like, there's some old school agents that have been doing this for 40 years, and they're still sitting at that same desk at one Sotheby's that used to be Harding Realty, and they look at me like, Jonathan, like, we're not surprised about your success. You're a big woman. I'm like, what? They're like, it's in your blood. Like this, what you're doing in real estate. Like, no one is surprised that knows your grandmother. I mean, that's
awesome.
It makes me feel so fucking good, and not because I'm egotistical and shit like that. Obviously, it's just that compliment me because of how much I love my family and grandma. My grandmother was a shark back in her day. I mean, she's retired now. Real estate broker. She sold a condo to Pharrell. She actually thought the buyer was Pharrell's bodyguard. So she was talking to Pharrell's bodyguard, showing the unit at Bellini in Bell Harbor. This guy was like 6'5" the whole time. And really it was the short guy with the hat was Pharrell. She had no idea. She still sold the unit. God. Legendary, $12 million sale, which at that time was like absurd, the penthouse at Bellini. And when
I was going to say it had to have been the penthouse.
Yeah, when I heard about that story, I was like, dude, like my grandma's an animal. Like how did she do that?
Awesome,
and so I'm a 3rd gen realtor, so it goes my grandma, Lydia, who's now crushing Golden Beach and everything. So a lot of the Golden Beach stuff that I help her pick, like now that we're doing together now.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know what you feel comfortable with sharing, and I don't.
No, I want to share this because people need to understand that your network. I am. And my broker, who knows everything about my success and everything, has said to me, you are probably the most strategic business person I've ever met. Not because you have the connections, but it's how you've like forced your way into this whole like malaise of family business and contacts that is really not that easy to do. Yeah, because there's so many other agents that want to be in my spot with what I've been able to build. And I kind of just played the long game, right? I was that kid that was like, hey, like Lydia, like, do you have any open houses I could sit? Like legit. Like I was dying to sit open houses, right? Like the little things that don't mean anything. I wasn't asking for any money. Like I was okay with like 50 grand. Like I was coming out of like this sales job I had in North Carolina, and I was like, hey, just anything to get started, And
wait, you were in North Carolina too?
Yeah, I lived in Charlotte for a year.
All right, hold on. We got to back up. So you were a hedge fund manager.
So with my journey, and it makes it really, and I'm not done yet. It scares me how much more I want to do, but in terms of my journey currently, like I've had to change course and start from zero multiple times. So after I had a,
The hedge fund gig.
hedge fund gig. I was a portfolio manager. I sold REO properties all over the country.
Okay.
When I worked there. So I was managing agents and brokers every day.
So how old were you when you went to North Carolina?
So after my gig at the hedge fund named Bayview, I got a really exciting job opportunity to manage sales in North and South Carolina for a company called Xerox. Xerox, I don't know if you've heard, has one of the most rigorous sales training programs in the world. Like, it is very cutthroat sales training. So when I went there, they put me in a position at Xerox, a sales position, 6-figure salary, really nice job, that takes the average sales rep 10 years to get promoted to. So the VP of sales liked me so much because
Family connection, just
family connection. I told some family members I'm getting kind of bored of what I'm doing, but it's still so good and so great. And this opportunity just opened up, and I just I entertained it and ended up moving forward with it. So when they put me in this position, it was way more difficult than I thought. It was like I had to learn. It was tech sales, right? But I had to sell this digital technology I knew zero about, and then I had a quota I had to meet for the first year. And I'm talking about selling like digital presses for Xerox that were the cheapest one you could buy is $250,000.
Were you like 27, 26?
Yeah, like late 20s, around the time I had my first kid. I up and moved from Miami to Charlotte. I had to manage sales in North and South Carolina, so I was staying in hotels, traveling all the time. I've been to every part of the Carolinas. I remember going from a sales meeting to another meeting to happy hour at the hotel to sleeping at the hotel to going back home the next day. It was crazy. But what I learned in that gig was, if I could succeed at that level, which I did hit my quota my first year. It took years off my life. It was like, I had to walk into businesses cold without an appointment and just ask to speak to the decision maker.
And door knock?
And the secretary would be like, hey, so-and-so's out for lunch for an hour. I'm like, I'll sit right there and wait. It was like Wolf of Wall Street, like sell me that pencil type thing.
So you've been kind of ingrained in sales.
Yeah, but that experience, even though it wasn't my long-term thing, was so valuable because once I resigned because I didn't want to be, that guy who gets old selling print technology my whole life. It just wasn't a fit for me. Once I moved back to Miami after that experience, in my head, I was like, nothing is going to stop me. Nothing. Like, I literally, I've had people, I lost deals in the Carolinas. I had people, I would literally be on the road driving 6 hours to an appointment, and I would miss, my daughter doing like a monumental life chapter at home that my wife would get to experience and me not, all to get maybe even a chance at closing a deal, right? So these things all just like fired me up. Like my blood started to boil. So when I moved back to Miami, it was like, I'm going full throttle into real estate, and it's going to be a joke compared to what Xerox sales was.
So that's another question, and I get that too because I'm in a pretty serious relationship myself. How do you balance, because we're both psychos when it comes to working. I love to work. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it's a Sunday, dude. If 3-4 hours go by and nothing's happening, I start to freak out and panic. I'm like, what are we doing here? I just feel like I need to do it.
I'm like always updating my to-do list on the weekends. Like, I didn't think of that. Bang, I added
the notes?
And then notes app. And then before I know it, even like by Saturday night, my to-do list is 20 things. I'm like, geez, I'm going to have to start hitting some of these tomorrow.
So you pull up your computer. That's what I did, dude.
It's getting out of control.
That's what I'm saying. Like Sunday morning, I'm laying in bed and she's like trying to make breakfast and shit. And I'm like, I don't want to get up and run around and be on a schedule because it's not Monday.
You gotta be. Have some level of.
I want to breathe for a minute. Yeah. My sleeping in was 8:30, by the way. Okay. And I pulled up the computer. I'm sitting there, and then she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this and do that," and I blacked out, and it was 11 a.m. And I was on my computer, laying in bed the entire time, like getting all this shit done. But then I'm like, "Okay, I'm good. Where are we going?" And then we went to lunch, did the whole 9 or whatever, and it's
mix it up.
Yeah, it's hard to balance. It's hard, but it's like. I don't know how you do it because you're 7. It's a 7-day thing. I mean, like I don't think I've ever.
Yeah, so there is a new level of no offense at all, but there is a level of respect I have for fathers in not only real estate, CEOs that are fathers, business owners that are fathers, because these. I mean, you fall in love with your kids, and there's so much sacrifice involved to. Like give them a good life, right? And obviously working and being good at what you do and making money is part of that. But I mean, it's a time commitment. There's nights you aren't going to be sleeping much, especially when they're babies. There's basketball, baseball practice, pick up,
So
drop off.
but how do you balance that?
So we're fortunate.
The not
we're
sleeping.
fortunate that we have the sleeping thing. You kind of just get used to as a parent, especially because I'm on my second kid. But with the first kid, my daughter was an amazing baby. Slept through the night. It was perfect. My second one, not so much. Kind of like a night owl, wakes up every few hours. I mean, we kind of bring it up. We actually bring it up any morning that he sleeps the whole night. So we're at that stage. But we also are fortunate enough that with our our current baby, we're better off financially, we could afford more help. With our first baby, where I was in the Carolinas running around, we're in a different space, still okay, but we didn't have the help. Now we have a live-in. We have 2 nannies now, actually, for 2 kids. So
that's another thing. I was trying to tell you over there. I didn't get into it about like how I met my girl or whatever.
At Equinox, right? You're telling me.
So I met her at Equinox. You say Equinox. She says Equinox. I say Equinox.
Equinox. Depends on
the other day, whatever. So I'm at the gym. I see this girl, and not to make it the whole story, but like I met her and she told me, she's like, I have kids. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, how many kids do you have? She's like, I have 3 kids. I'm like,
oh wow,
dude, listen.
I didn't know this. This is
3 kids.
Oh wow, I did not know.
So I go, yeah, no, like I already in my head, I'm like, not gonna work, right? Like respectfully, you're 30 years old. I'm 28. You have 3 kids.
The age difference not really as big of a deal.
No. It's just like
the kids thing is like, you got to think about it. Like, okay, there's kids involved.
The age is literally nothing. I brought it up just kind of like it was like a thing, whatever. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do. Let's go out to dinner anyway. Let's see. I knew that she had kids, but she didn't tell me right when I met her.
Oh,
but
okay,
then we went out to dinner, and I was like, all right, so tell me everything about you. She's like, I have 3 kids, and I'm like, okay. Well, this is probably going to be a 1 or 2, dinner night thing, and we'll talk never. But then, dude, like honestly, it's just kind of like it's crazy because I've become so accustomed to the kids, and they love me, and I love them, and I feel like they're my own. Yeah. And there is no sleeping. There is no such thing as imagine 3, dude. I have a baby monitor on one nightstand, a baby monitor on the other. The 3-year-old will come in, Mama, I need to go pee.
Yeah, I was going to ask you next. Like, what are the ages?
5, 3, and 18 months.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm over here like, all right, if I want to have kids with her, in my head, I'm like, yeah, it's probably an 18-month thing. I'm like, but I already have 3 kids with her.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm like. Yeah. They're not mine. I treat them like they're mine. I might as well give you one of my own. But then we're going to have 4.
Yeah.
But she's got the live-in and the nanny thing. And like, I'm like, dude, it's just like, it's so funny because I look at it like, never did I think it would be like that. But she is absolutely amazing and checks off every other box. But going to the balance of it, like if they have school things,
the logistics, it's like everywhere. Yeah,
it's all over the place.
Yeah, and it takes a village. It's not just. I mean,
it takes a village.
Shout out to all like the single mothers out there because after having kids, I don't know how it is so hard. I mean, it's a full time job. Just assuming you don't work at all and you just have to be at home watching or parenting, it's really a lot. And it's honestly, I couldn't do it. I mean, I think, and I say this as a joke, but not really. Like, I think selling real estate is easier than being a good parent. I mean, being a good parent is so much going on, such a sacrifice that, like, that's why I mad respect and shout out to any single mom out there. Like, dealing in these times with these kids, it's a lot.
3, bro. Like one kid's one kid, fine. But like anything after 2 or 2 and on, like they like one of them will come in the middle of the night. She'll coddle him and make sure he falls asleep, put him back, and by the time he falls asleep, the other one comes in, and then it's 5 a.m. and then the other baby woke up and his thing's screaming. I'm like, and I'm like, dude, put him back in the room.
Yeah,
I gotta sleep, baby. Put him back.
2 is a lot. I mean, we're at 2, and I'm like ready.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm done. Yeah, and I got the boy and the girl. I'm like,
oh yeah, perfect.
I'm good. Yeah.
I just I envision 2 kids for me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, she already has 3. If I'm gonna settle down with her, I have to have 1. It has to be a boy. And then if it's not, then we're gonna have to.
The thing is, you're still young. Like, how old are you? Like,
I'm 28.
Yeah, you're still so young, man. You got time. Like what? Like you're gonna see, like these kids grow up so fast. Sooner rather than later, these kids are gonna be like their own person. They're gonna be eating their cereal, going out the door for school. And then they're gonna be like, maybe you should have a baby, like
But that, I look at her biological clock too, because that's the thing she's mentioned to me too. Like I never envision having more kids, but like if you want kids, like I would have more kids, but I don't want to wait 5 years either.
Yeah, well, she's 30, right? You're 20. Yeah, you got time. You got time.
You got time.
Not like you don't have like too much time, but you got. There's still that window's still open. You know.
Do you think that it helps or affects your work at all, being like married and having kids?
Yes.
For better, for worse.
Yes, 100%. I think having kids, which you should actually, be more open about, because I think there's a level of respect from man to man that men have for each other when they both are fathers. I think being a father is not really, I don't want to call it a flex, because it's not a flex. It's like,
I think it's fucking awesome, dude.
You have a sense of responsibility outside of just being good at what you do, that you're now like the provider for something else that's more important than yourself, right? Your family, your wife, your kids. Like, to me, there's no bigger responsibility, and as a professional, whether you're a lawyer, real estate agent, or doctor, like you're just viewed at differently if you have kids and you're a father.
Yeah, dude, I feel like there's another, like, all of her kids like go to Hillel, and like the way that community is structured and the way that that's set up, I'm like,
yeah,
holy shit.
I know people there too. Yeah, Hillel.
No, but it makes me realize, I'm like, holy shit, dude, like I gotta make fucking money.
Yeah, it's
there's no $300,000, $200,000 conversations. Like these are $20,000.
There's a level of motivation, especially when you look at your baby's eyes every morning, or
Dude, I still feel
whatever.
That's the thing.
You,
like
you probably feel it already too.
Stepdad vibes. I still feel like,
but
oh my
you
god,
still,
like this is like
you do still feel that responsibility.
Yeah, 100%.
In a way, I have a stepfather. My parents got divorced at a very young age.
How old were you?
7.
Okay, so my parents split when I was 10.
Right.
So my grandfather
you know
raised
what
me.
that's like.
Yeah, my grandfather raised me. I didn't really have like I had a stepdad for a little bit, but it wasn't like anything like worth like even mentioning, or wasn't long enough. But yeah, dude, I just look at it like I don't know how a dad could be a deadbeat dad. Like these aren't even my children, and I look at them, I'm like, these kids like look up to me. They like, I'm buying them fucking Spider-Man shoes and Barbie shit, and like they get so elated from it and are so happy. Like when I go over her house after this, they're gonna scream and run through the front door.
Isn't that the best feeling?
Yeah, and I'm not their dad. Like I can't even imagine how, and I feel good about it, but like, I can't even imagine how I feel if it was actually my child.
Yeah, it's
like,
awesome. There's no better feeling than coming home and your daughter like coming up to you, like hugging your leg. Like,
how old is your daughter?
She's 5.
So you have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old?
And a 1-year-old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were unsure. I mean, we thought about the second for a long time. We weren't sure, and then at some point we're just like, it's either now or never, and then bang, we did it. And I don't regret it, because it's a boy and I love him and he's amazing. My daughter's amazing too. It's all great. But yeah, there's really there's no feeling like having these kids and babies.
I love that. What's his name? Your son?
Theo.
Theo is on the beach at Faina.
Yeah.
Living his best life. I fucking love it.
It's our Sunday ritual. We go
That's
to Faina.
That's what it is? Okay.
We go to Faina, and my son just passes out in the lounge here, living the best Miami Beach life.
I'm probably gonna adopt your Sunday ritual, because my ritual right now is Wednesday, Friday, Monday, maybe even Tuesday and Thursday, Hillstone or Houston's.
I'm always at Houston's. Probably once a week at least. I said the bar.
How many people are at Equinox that go there? How many people?
I bet half the guys that go to Equinox are at Equinox.
Literally a Deer, Yaniv.
And they ruin their workouts because they're always drinking wine. I'm like, dude, like, you're working your tail off in the morning, and then you're drinking like 2 glasses of wine with lunch every day. Like,
yeah. No,
like,
and they're having the burger and the burger too.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that is a phenomenal. That is the best burger. How do you think? Because I used to be a little like against this when I first got my license. I'm like, why would I network or do a podcast with a real estate agent? Like, that's my competitor. How important do you think it is to like network and know other real estate agents? I think that's actually like kind of underrated, and I think people don't.
This one might be like one of the best questions of the night so far, and I've been thinking about this since I got my license. It's number one. Other real estate agents, whether they're residential or commercial, you view them as your friends.
Yep.
Especially with what's going on in our industry.
We have to go to that. That's the next question.
Yeah.
I'm making good.
Everyone, there's enough food out there for all of us to be sharks and crush it and make a lot of money. And at the end of the day, most people will fail. This is not, this industry is not for the faint of heart. It will pick you up and throw you out so fast if you don't have a certain type of mentality and
Yeah.
work ethic. So just for someone to be an agent for longer than 2 years is already a success. Whether you're selling $5-10 million a year, or $3 million a year, or just enough to pay your bills, but you're still just going at it because you're just so hungry to get to that next level.
You're hustling, trying to make it work.
Like, you're doing well, right? So I think realtors need to be friendly with one another, but they need to be professional and respect each other's time and do things like this to educate other realtors.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, I don't have the secret. That's just, I'm going to spit out a secret and you're going to do it once and you're all of a sudden going to be like the top broker in the country. It doesn't exist. What does exist is hard work, cold calling, marketing, digital marketing.
Consistency.
Literally, mailers, do it all. Just try everything until one thing sticks, and maybe one thing that you actually enjoy doing, right? I personally am a huge foodie. I don't know if you see me during the weekends. I love taking people out to dinner, going out to dinner, grabbing drinks. I'm a very social person, but like not everyone kind of does their business that way. Other people are more homebodies, but they.
I'm a homebody. I'd rather like cold call and like selectively pick, but I'm also like, it depends. Like if I know you and I know we're cool, we can have a good conversation. Like this was spontaneous and kind of like out of the blue.
Yeah, hey, I'm in this. Yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
But I knew, like, I already kind of had I have a good kind of read for people, and I feel like you had the same thing too. You wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have asked.
Yeah, I just think you and I have similarities that, quite frankly, not enough agents have in the city. I think just generally in the country. I think everyone's so scared to get their hands dirty. Do you know how many times when I first got my license, people would hang up their phone on me? I don't even know who you are. Click.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of agents would have given up. You know.
Yeah.
I started during COVID. I did a
What month did you have your license?
December 2019. COVID started March 2020.
I got my license 21 months.
Every guru in real estate, all the real estate coaches, you know what they would say? I would pay money for these things. I would join these different discords and you know different.
Oh, so you believe in coaching?
I had nothing to do. This was COVID. I couldn't leave my condo without everyone thinking you would die, right? So it was like a really scary time, by the way. Every real estate coach said, if you just got your license, get out. Run like Forrest Gump. Straight up. And I'm sitting there like, am I going to be broke for the rest of my life? Like, there's no problem. What am I going to do? I was starting like, I have a degree. I'm pretty good at what I do. I can easily get a 6-figure sales job somewhere. I'll be fine. But no. Like, I feel like this is an opportunity to just prove all the naysayers wrong. Like, I know COVID is here.
I love that.
And then what happened? 6 months go by. Miami is in the biggest real estate boom it's ever witnessed in history because of COVID and all the policies nationwide that attracted literally everybody. And I was reaping the rewards of that. So I think there's a lot of lessons there.
I think that's a similarity that we definitely have for sure.
Like, you wouldn't give up. I know if you were in my shoes, you'd be like, whatever. No. Like, let's keep this. I haven't been an agent for that long. Like, let's keep going.
Dude, similar to you, and it's like, I know some people will have something to say about it regardless. Like, you can come from money, you can come from a good family upbringing. You still have to go get that listing appointment for $55 million. You still have to present yourself and carry yourself and sell your own family member on working with you and giving you responsibilities and opportunities. So I didn't come from I wasn't starving. My family did really well, but I hated the comfort and the control. Like, I wasn't the decision maker. I didn't have the money. If I wanted to go to Florida or go on vacation, I'd ask my grandpa or ask my family. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. When I moved down here, dude, and I always have posted and talked about success and going for it all and showing up no matter what. So like for me, it's like I have to make it, or I would have to go back to Michigan and say I didn't.
Go back to construction?
I'd have to go back to construction and I don't want to say be a loser, but I'm a loser if I quit.
Right.
Because winners are losers that just don't quit. You didn't quit. You didn't give up. You wanted to learn. You strived for more. You got hung up on. You called the next person. And that's what it takes. And you have to, and this business too, like you said, it takes a certain mindset, dude. If you get hung up on, and that's going to ruin and throw you off and ruin your mood, it's not for you.
No, you got to just quickly jump to the next thing. I mean, it's like Like it doesn't even exist. It's like, oh, it's there. Like in my head, I talk to myself and I say, oh, they're lost. Boom, on to the next one. And there's so many opportunities everywhere. It's like, and it almost drives me nuts. Even when I was sitting at Houston's at lunch, I try to like sit next to someone who, hey, maybe they're wearing like a Patek. I see a Patek, I'm sitting next to that guy, right? Maybe nothing happens. Maybe he's with his wife and we don't even exchange words. But maybe they hear me on the phone talking about a deal. Hey, I heard you bring up
13.5, don't they?
Hey, like, what's going on there? Hey, whatever. I'm in the market, by the way. I think about these things, right?
Oh, dude, 100%. I was at Makoto 2 weeks ago. I was with my girl. There was this guy next to me wearing a Richard Mille. He had Louboutins on.
Right.
His girl had 6 Cartier bracelets on. I'm like, all right, we got to talk to these people. I want to know what the fuck he does.
Exactly.
I just met him yesterday for lunch. He's buying a Pagani. He's got a Bugatti.
Right.
I cold called his neighbor he plays tennis with every day. A dog walked in. I'm like, Shane, I'm going to say, and he said something like, oh, you're a dog guy? Where do you, oh yeah, I live in Delray. I'm like, wait a minute. Or he's like, I live in Delray. I'm like, oh, do you know Seven Bridges? He's like, my buddy Joseph lives there. He's actually, funny story, he's trying to sell his house. He couldn't sell it. I'm like, shut up. I go, stop. I go, is his name Joseph Arpino? He goes, yeah. I go, babe, take a picture of me. And I go, what's your name? He's like, Bill. I'm like, Bill, me and you. I go,
wait, did you cold call him and you remember
I cold
his
call
name?
his friend, Joseph. I pitched him 3 days prior to that.
That's amazing. So you just sent him a text. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, I'm with your guy. And then I just met him yesterday, but it's like, it's just the power of networking. And then that guy met me and he actually took a liking to my social media and all this other shit.
Yes, this is an amazing example to all you new realtors out there. Things in the real estate business could change in one night. Like I'm talking immediately. You make one, you meet one person that is of high wealth or of some sort of influence. You have no idea what kind of doors it can open. I remember I told you on Instagram, hey, if you see me at the gym, I want you to do a story. I want to say one thing.
Yeah. I didn't know what you meant by that.
It brought me to this. It reminded me just now you talking about that because I said this on the One Sotheby's agent panel to all you new agents out there. Like things just change fast. So I had a free hour on a random Tuesday. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta do something. Let me just get some cold calling, cold texting, something.
Yeah.
So I just start cold calling and cold texting owners in a specific condo building of high net worth. And this one guy responds to my text. By the way, when you cold call and cold text, you're ignored most of the time. So it's all a numbers game. You're just waiting for that one conversation.
It's like a girl, a guy going to a bar and asking for a girl's number. There's going to be a couple that say yes, and the 8 of them are going to say no.
It's all numbers, right?
All numbers.
So this one guy responds and says, hey, I'm not interested in selling, but this condo, a little small for me. I want to upgrade. Could you help me with that? I used a Sotheby's agent in my home state of California. He was excellent. So I'm assuming Sotheby's in Miami. I'm sure you're pretty good at what you do. I was like, certainly, sir, anything you need. He goes, okay, my budget is $15 million. Okay, $15 million. I'm like, sir.
From a cold text.
From a cold text, literally within 1 day. Within 1 day, we scheduled showings, and he's flying into Miami the following week. Okay, so I'm like, is this might be too good to be true? This guy's a scammer or something. All these thoughts that happen.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So he comes in. I ended up selling him. I ended up selling him something. And it's the penthouse at Aria Reserve.
Oh, that's the one I love.
Swear to God.
I love your video.
6% commission.
On $5 million.
Well, 6% commission total. They pay 5% up front. From moment of first text message to that commission wire hitting my bank account was literally 60 days. Okay? 60 days. From a random cold text, and the only reason it was 60 days was because the developer has like a 30-day waiting period. I was actually hoping it would be sooner, but whatever. The story is insane because I made more than what most people make in a year.
Triple.
Just a single.
It was a $5 million
text
sale?
message. Yes, and the guy's he's actually gonna do renovations to this new development. It's insane. He's got but it's gonna lead to more stuff though. This is just the beginning.
So it's a $10 million sale.
He's gonna give me the listing for his current condo, right, which is also in the millions. So once this place is done, I'm gonna be listing it and selling his current place Oh, and by the way, he's got a $15 million estate in California who I referred the listing agent with Sotheby's, he's going to be listing it next year. Obviously, names and addresses I'm not going to disclose. But,
Yeah, but let me ask you
referral fee on that.
But what kind of referral fee? On a big deal, it's a little hefty. You're not taking 25.
Listen, you know me. I'm not one of those commission cutters, or I'm just getting my 25%. I mean,
No. I thought you would ask for more.
Nah.
If I gave like a $10 million deal to somebody in California, I would say
it's a lot of work. I respect everyone's hustle. I could have asked for 35%, which I was thinking of doing, but I'm like, you know what? No, because that agent is a BA, awesome, badass. Excuse my French. And I want him to refer me business. Because he's he's friends with like Justin Bieber, right? Like you'll just, hey, Justin, like.
See, so you're a long-term
right. So
guy.
I'm thinking the long game, and I think it's so you get kind of warped into this trap. Like maybe I should just get more money. Like I'm a 40% referral. Like not like listen, I made enough. I'm gonna get more business from this one client.
Yeah.
Let's let that happen because he's coming to Miami. I mean, he's all of his riches and everything coming straight to Miami-Dade County, baby, and I love it. This is like, and I'm not saying that, and trust me, there's been days where I cold text and cold call and nothing happens. Like, don't get me wrong, but all it takes is that one response and conversation to become a deal. And
I love that, like a cold text turned into.
So when you say #dialed, that's the definition of dialed, baby. Dialed.
So you're like me. You have to maximize every minute of your day. You can't sit still.
100%.
You're we have those moments where we scroll through Instagram like everybody else, but like we all have the same 24 hours in a day. When do you end your work day? Because I know you have the family environment. So when do you think like, all right, I gotta
10:30, 11 p.m. But I want to be clear when I say that is that there's periods of time I'm eating dinner with my family where I'm not working, helping my kids go to sleep, working out. Like today even I went to the gym at like 4 o'clock for an hour.
When's your normal time?
Normally in the morning. It's just today I had other stuff.
I'm looking at my other camera really quick. But wait, you're 10:30, bro. Are you insane?
Yeah. I'm nuts. And the reason is I don't like going to bed without answering all my emails and messages from clients and whatever. So sometimes I'll let things like move on to the next day if it's not that important.
Yeah, like I'm kind of freaking out because I just did that webinar and everything and I didn't have a chance to like really look at my phone for like 2 hours, and then I'm gonna go see my girl and like have dinner, and then I'm gonna still be on my phone for like an hour. And she's gonna have to like. She doesn't care. She doesn't say anything ever. But I just try and be as present as I can be.
Yeah. And we're on our phone so much, the girls think we're just like texting. No, this is all like most of it's just work. I mean,
don't. Yeah, dude. I feel weird too. Like I don't know how you are. Like imagine because you have a $55 million guy and you got a $15 million guy. Like those are both very equally like. Obviously, one of them is a bigger deal, but they're both very important, right? So like. If you're at the appointment with the $15 million guy, right now, like it's just you and him in a meeting, and the $55 million guy calls, how do you handle that?
I immediately send him a text message. I'm in a meeting and it ends at X time. I'll call you the minute it ends.
Okay, that's how I am too.
Yeah.
You'll tell, excuse me one second. Hey, I'm in a meeting. I'll call you in 15 minutes.
The truth is, if you are always available, it kind of sends a negative message in a way too to some clients, right? It's like, oh, Anthony's like, like always available. Does he not have enough business going on? Like,
what is he doing?
Does he not have enough clients?
Yeah.
It's good that we're busy. Now, it's not good if we don't get back to our clients in a timely fashion, right? What if you're in a showing? What if you're in a listing appointment? What if I mean, heck, what if your phone's dead, right? All these things happen. We're not superheroes, right? Things happen, but you do need to be responsive. And I think that's so important with any seller or buyer. It's like, hey, listen, I was doing this. I'll call you at this time. I'll call you at 2 p.m. today. Does that work for you? But that's the beauty of text messages, right? It's like, you got to communicate. Communication
is huge. Okay, one of the last questions here. You already know what I'm going to ask.
I don't, but go anyway.
The settlement.
Yes.
The buyers, everyone's messaging me every day.
God.
What should I do? What do you tell the sellers that they won't pay a buyer's agent commission? What do you do if you're a buyer's agent most of the time?
I think that this is the biggest change that our industry has ever experienced with what's about to happen.
Really?
After August 17th. I think it's unfair to a lot of new agents who, traditionally, like me and even you and others, we made our living off buyer deals. back in the day, a few years ago, whatever. But now it's, we're going to have to approach new buyer clients like you would a listing appointment. You're going to have to go to a buyer and ask them to pay a fee for your services on top of a down payment, closing costs, and that's not going to be an easy conversation for anybody. Now, I think the best will survive, the best brokers, the best agents, the agents that are used to being on the phone, having conversations, and are used to objections. You will get better, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't work out for the first few times, but the whole game's going to change. What I recommend you do is start now. I think when you have a new buyer referral tomorrow, start now. Hey, just so you're aware, these changes are taking effect. I am no longer compensated by the seller. There might be some sellers that compensate me, but it's not a guarantee. So I already have a buyer presentation that, thank God for Sotheby's and their marketing, helping me create one for me. I already have a presentation ready for buyers who are going to be, hey, Jonathan, I don't want to pay. Why would I pay for your services? As agents, we are no longer optional. We're no longer. And if you feel that you're not worth your services, you're done. You're not going to make any money because you have to be able to show a buyer. And this is the reason this whole thing happened in the first place. Buyers felt like they were taking advantage of. They didn't know how their agents were getting paid. They didn't know that agents can just take them and steer them to properties that paid more commission on the MLS. So in some aspects, you could just be negative Nancy and say, oh, I'm done, I'm getting out of real estate. Or you could take that A-type personality approach. I'm gonna crush this. All right, if I could win a listing, I could win a buyer paying me. Maybe it's not a full 3%. Hey, Jonathan, I'll pay you 2%, 1.5%, 1%. Depending on the property and the price range, you can kind of finagle that. But if they're at least paying you a commission and you got them on a buyer-signed agreement, which you can't even tour a property, by the way, without a buyer-signed agreement. The good news about this
is make people sign that?
We're going to have to.
But right now, do you do this?
I would start at least getting something in writing signed because that's just going to be the way it goes. The good news is your time as a buyer agent will not be wasted anymore because you and I both know the feeling of showing a buyer 20 properties and then they find something on their own. Oh, I used my cousin to write the contract. Thanks, Jonathan. No, that's not cool. Now, if you have something in writing and you tour and you show them a property, you are now entitled to that buyer agreed upon commission, whether it's 1%, 2%, whatever it is. And on top of that, when it's time for a buyer to make an offer on a property they like, now you hold the chips when it comes to, hey, Mr. Seller and listing agent, what are you paying commission-wise, if anything? And if so, let's get a deal constructed here, right? So I think
I love that. I love the way that you're already being proactive about it and just saying.
And I don't know. And listen, I'm not telling you I'm a pro at this. This is very new to everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But the people that take longer to adapt to this are the ones that are going to lose at the end. Because if your intention is just to wing it and just see how it plays out, you're going to be dead in the water. I think you got to think about how many things do buyer agents do for buyers? There's 101 things. Right? Tell your buyers that. Show them. Have a coffee with them.
What are 5 big things that you would say?
Well, I would say the most time-consuming things are not only scheduling showings. Have you tried scheduling 6 showings in a day in Brickell? I mean, Brickell downtown where there's a
system because I'm not calling the agent.
It could take hours.
Tenant occupied. And you're trying to map it out so that it's a timely fashion.
And they don't get back to you at all.
And then you have a 3 o'clock to 3:30. Then the 4 o'clock fucks it up. Then you got to. And then you're looking like an idiot. Then
exactly. And then I got to go pick up my daughter at school. These are all things that we go through on a daily basis. But on top of that, what is the cost to a buyer if they go in unrepresented? And let's just say, an inspector misses a leak in the roof or something where a buyer agent maybe would have caught it and said, hey, Paul,
do you have a seller's disclosure?
Yeah, well, that, and Paul, I am seeing that the floor is a little uneven. I think, to compensate for that, we should offer a little less, right? Because that's going to be an issue you're going to have to take care of. So what is the cost to a buyer? I think that if there's a leak or something that's wrong with the property that an inspector might miss, maybe there's even no inspector because if there's no agent, whatever. But what's the cost to the buyer? I think the cost of that buyer, roughly 1%. 1% of the purchase price to fix something like that, right? Maybe 40 G's, maybe 50 more. G's. why wouldn't you just pay your buyer agent that amount of money to not have those issues?
And do everything for you.
On top of doing everything else, so it's a seamless, easy process, including being an emotional buffer, by the way.
Did you post that reel of like somebody saying, when someone gets buried at a funeral home, you don't just have somebody dig a hole, you hire a professional
Of course.
to orchestrate the whole thing. And I know that's like a bizarre, but it's really
extreme,
not.
but it's true.
But like nobody thinks about it like that. It's like, dude, if you're buying $1 million home or a $500,000 home, I don't care what it is. Like that $15,000 is going to make sure that all the liens are taken care of, the title work's done, the purchase agreement's right, that you're not going to get screwed over on your deposit.
Right.
You're going to meet the deadlines. You're going to have enough time to do your due diligence. You're not going to have to stress about it at night because a Bigelman or a Nucci is doing it for you.
Right.
And that's been doing it for years. It's not the first home they bought. And even if this isn't my first rodeo, I know that I've sold more houses than you've bought houses, dude.
100%.
I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos.
Do this for a living.
How many houses do you think he's really bought? Maybe 20?
Right. Would you? And someone today at the Sotheby's meeting had the perfect example regarding this. I have to share it. If you went to the Four Seasons to, have a night out with, stay family vacation.
Sure.
And you go to the front desk and say, hey, I love this place. I mean, the furniture, the finishes, the rooms, the views. It's amazing. It's like $600 for the night, but I could go across the street to that Courtyard Marriott and pay $250 for the night. Could you guys just lower the fee to that $250, or else I'm just gonna, go get that, that Courtyard Marriott room. That's still nice, but not like this nice. You know what Four Seasons would do? They would roll you up in a ball and bowl you out of the lobby outside on the street. Right? So when it comes to this stuff, right, as a buyer, you have to look at things in the big picture, right? It's like, could you get away and try to buy a house on your own and do it, on your own without any guidance from professionals? Sure you can. Will there be mistakes? Would you regret it? I wouldn't regret. I would rather pay more and stay at the Four Seasons and have a memorable experience with no issues, no customer service issues, no hair in my room service food, right? Like, it's similar in real estate, right? Like you need a professional who knows what they're doing to guide you through the entire process, because there's 101 things we do, and we'll provide you with that list of 101 things we do so that you understand that, hey, things are going to be more transparent now with this new lawsuit. But at the end of the day, it's going to come at a cost, because we're not going to work for free. At least the good ones.
No, that's what I tell my guys. I'm like, dude, a lawyer has no problem telling a client that their retainer fee for the month is $10,000.
Yeah, and if they say I'm not paying that, then get out. Someone else will come in.
All right, last question, and we're done. Because it's late, I know. But we're having a good conversation.
I mean, yeah.
The $55 million listing. How did you work that? How tough was it to get it? Was it a cold call? Was it a relationship over time? Was there a lot of competition? I imagine you were probably up against some of the biggest names in town.
So this comes down to the importance of farming an area. So once you make enough sales in a neighborhood, Golden Beach, I have competition in Golden Beach. There's other agents and brokers that do business, and I admire and respect them a lot. But in terms of one Sotheby's and Sotheby's globally, if there's one agent name that's not me and my partner Lydia Eskenazi for Golden Beach at Sotheby's, you're not doing it the right way. We have sold millions upon millions, property upon property. It's absurd how much we sell there, and it's not because we're just like these magicians. We just know the neighborhood backwards. We know all of the owners. We know all of the off-market properties. We know the values, so we strategically price them to sell, obviously if the seller's in agreement with the price. So we just have created a name for ourselves where if someone who is very wealthy and has a property in Golden Beach, they at least have heard of our names. And it's not to say that, someone else who's crushing in a different market can't maybe get a phone call and have an opportunity at the listing, because that might happen.
Sure.
But when you're just an expert in one neighborhood and have proved that you could sell,
you're going to get the first step out.
You're going to get those opportunities, and that was the case with this one. My aunt and I got the phone call. We did the listing appointment. We walked the property numerous times with different recommendations. We gave them accurate information on property value, what comps are going for, what off markets have sold on that same street that other realtors wouldn't be able to pull.
So let me ask you that. Do you feel like, because you try and get the listing day one, but not these bigger deals. I feel like these bigger
deals take more time because
so that's what I'm saying.
the bigger deals take more time.
More sophisticated.
Not always.
Interviews.
Not always, but these sophisticated sellers, listen, all the information is online. These sophisticated sellers want a big name on their listing. They want someone with experience, connections, and they want someone who know the real estate community. That's why these sit downs are so important.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Nucci, I got a new listing coming up in Surfside. It's an amazing price. You told me about that buyer you had a month ago, right? Is he still in play? Yeah. Boom. We can get a deal done off market. These things, though, if you're just one of these guys, these realtors who's all macho and talks crap about everyone else and thinks you know it all, you're not going to do well in this business.
No.
You got to be.
No.
We have to respect the hustle. We have to be happy for our competition. Maybe winning some big listings and sales, right? Because
there's enough to go around.
Yeah, in these having these relationships, whether it's open houses, podcasts, phone calls, maybe we just do a random deal together and it turns into a friendship, right? It all matters because in 20 years from now when we're crushing it and have our own teams, we're all going to still be working together. We're still going to be doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's such long-term, dude. That's so long-term. Yeah.
But it's important because, you don't burn bridges, right? In any industry you're in, just, be respected, respect other people's time, but have that network, man. So I think, with that listing, it happened to be, referral based just off of our name. We didn't know the seller, from beforehand, and it was just a referral.
Awesome, dude. But that's years of work. You took years of grind.
Yeah. And
farming.
And some impressive sales. Some sales on homes that I thought we would never sell. Honestly, I was like, there's no way we're getting that number. And then voila, I do one good showing. My partner, Aunt Lydia Eskenazi, does one great showing. And all of a sudden, we get an offer in my inbox at 9 o'clock. And I start taking my shirt off and celebrating, right? It's it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Seeing those big numbers, it's
yeah, dude.
Wow.
I get so fucking amped up. That Eastern Shores deal was one of my toughest deals I've ever had to do too.
Yeah.
The seller and I have no idea, dude.
But sometimes you might do a $6 million deal that's easier than that Eastern Shores.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get. I mean, I've had rental deals that have been harder than most of my sale deals, right? So it's
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's no.
You never really know how hard deals will be. At the end of the day, as long as you're doing the best for your client, it's all gonna be dandy at the end.
So where can people find you on social media? What's the website?
So my Instagram tag is pretty easy to remember, but you have to remember the period in between the names. So it's Miami.broker. That's my Instagram tag.
The Biggleman. I'm getting some BTS.
So yeah, Miami.broker, Jonathan Biggleman, at my website, jonathanbiggleman.com. Keep it simple. And yeah, we're just started the B Luxury Group at One Sotheby's. And I'm a huge fan of Nucci and the Nucci Group at Douglas Elliman.
I appreciate that.
I hope for success, and I hope we both can be top of the rankings, year in and year out, and just keep crushing it, man. I think that's what it's all about, You only live once, so just work your butt off and try to be better every day.
I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate it. I think this was really good. I think a lot of new agents will get a lot of value from this. I think a lot of big brokers will get value from this. I mean, there's some things that I even took away from this. I hope I gave you some value to a degree as well.
I actually learned a lot about you through this. I mean, I know.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been good. I love these interviews. I think this podcast and whatever you end up doing with it, you should keep rolling with it.
No, dude, I got you. I'm going to send you all the raw footage. I'm going to send some clips, and we're going to put it out there, and I'll tag you and everything, and it'll be fucking sweet, dude.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's just fun, and I love doing this stuff, man. I think whenever you can give back to the community or other real estate agents or putting yourself out there, I mean, listen, there's a quote. I'm going to end it on this quote.
End it on the quote, baby.
Man in the arena. Have you that quote?
No.
Okay, so I don't have the whole thing memorized, but basically it's the whole summary of this quote is that there's so many people, critiquing your how much you make, what you do for a living, your work, your attitude online or on social media, and they're just there just watching and saying nasty negative things, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is you busting your butt, being the guy in the arena, right? Fighting that battle right? Like a gladiator, right?
blind
getting hit in the face, bleeding everywhere. Everyone's staring, some laughing at you even, while you're getting humiliated, and not really succeeding. But then all of a sudden, like this beast monster comes into the ring, and you've already been through so much crap. You're like, whatever, let's go, baby. And then you finally start winning. And then all these people are like, oh my God, I know Nucci. Like, he's the man, he's killing it. And those same people that are saying those amazing things about you were the ones from the beginning saying, what the heck is Nucci doing with these what's Jonathan Bigelman posting every day for it? Like his voice.
Who is this guy?
His voice is so deep, he sounds ridiculous. Whatever it is they want to say about me. But at the end of the day, we did what we had to do.
They watched and now they're admiring.
Exactly. And while they're still in the same position, sitting on that couch.
BDE.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, this is great.